Welcome back, everyone, and brace yourselves, because tonight's episode of Beyond the Gates 2025 takes us straight into the darkest corridors of Fairmont Crest, where love, betrayal, and bloodlines collide. What if the man who believes he's about to become a father discovers he was never capable of it? What if the woman carrying his child is hiding a secret that could destroy the entire Dupree dynasty? This isn't just another family scandal, it's the unraveling of an empire built on lies. In this video, we're diving deep into Jacob's devastating discovery, Naomi's twisted deception, and the chain of betrayals that could bury every Dupree under the weight of their own sins. Get ready, this is the story that will change everything. Long before the whispers of betrayal and bloodlines consumed Fairmont Crest, Jacob's life had been built on quiet discipline and loyalty. He was the man who always stood in the background, managing the family's empire while others courted attention. His love for Naomi was meant to be his one escape from the chaos of the Dupree legacy. She had entered his life like a calm after years of storms, gentle, intelligent, and determined to carve her own path beyond the shadow of wealth. Their union had once been celebrated across the gated community, the perfect image of refinement and harmony that reflected the prestige of the Dupree family name. But perfection, as it always did in Fairmont Crest, hid the rot beneath the surface. Jacob had been sick for months before he finally sought help. The diagnosis came quietly, without ceremony: sterility, irreversible, and buried beneath layers of polite medical language. He told no one. Not his mother Anita, not his father Vernon, not even Naomi. It was a secret he planned to take to the grave, convinced that it was better for Naomi to never know. But fate has a way of turning silence into a weapon. When Naomi suddenly announced her pregnancy, the walls Jacob had spent years fortifying around his heart began to crumble. The timing was impossible, and yet he wanted to believe her so desperately that he ignored every warning sign, every late-night phone call, every unexplained meeting, every fragile smile that trembled with guilt. Behind the shimmering chandeliers of Fairmont Crest, whispers grew louder. Leslie was the first to notice the fracture, the subtle shift in Jacob's demeanor. She had long envied Naomi's influence over him, and now she saw her chance to destroy it. Leslie planted a seed, a rumor that Joey, the family's most unpredictable ally, had been spending nights in Naomi's company during Jacob's business trips. Her words spread like perfume in the air, sweet and poisonous, carried by the very people who toasted Naomi's miracle child. Soon, even Anita, who had long championed Naomi as the future of the Dupree legacy, began to doubt her. In the shadows, Andre reappeared, a man who once shared both Naomi's ambition and her bed. His return was not coincidence. He had left years ago after a scandal within the Dupree Foundation's financial division, and Naomi had quietly helped him escape legal ruin. Now he was back, with leverage. He knew about Jacob's condition, having once seen the confidential file when working in the family archives. Andre began to visit Naomi again, under the pretense of consulting her on charity work, but every meeting left her trembling. He threatened to expose Jacob's infertility if she didn't help him regain his lost position, and perhaps something more. The pregnancy that should have united the Dupree dynasty became the fuse to a silent war. Danny, ever the observer, began tracking Naomi's movements, discovering that she had visited a fertility clinic months before announcing her pregnancy. The clinic specialized in discreet procedures for high-profile families, including artificial insemination. But the donor identity had been erased from the hospital's database. Someone had paid to bury it. Jacob's paranoia consumed him. He began recording Naomi's phone calls, hiring private investigators, and isolating himself in the mansion's west wing. Each night, he replayed the same question in his mind: whose child was she carrying? The obsession eroded his sanity, and by the time he received an anonymous message claiming to have the truth, he was too far gone to resist. The message contained a photo: Naomi entering a hotel with Bill, his oldest friend, under the cover of rain. The same night she had claimed to be visiting a charity gala. The image broke him. The man who once prided himself on logic and restraint became a storm of suspicion and vengeance. Meanwhile, Naomi was unraveling in silence. The pregnancy had turned into a curse she couldn't escape. Someone had begun sending her threats, sonogram photos with messages written in red ink, warning that her secret would destroy the Duprees. She suspected Andre, but the deeper truth was far more dangerous. The donor file from the clinic hadn't been deleted at all. It had been stolen and the DNA linked back to someone inside the Dupree estate. Someone Naomi never expected. The second act of this tragedy begins with the collapse of illusion. As Jacob's investigation deepens, he discovers that the anonymous donor tied to Naomi's fertility treatment shares a genetic connection to Vernon. The revelation hits like lightning. The records suggest that the sperm sample came from a confidential Dupree family health archive, a storage system only Vernon, Anita, and a few physicians had access to. Whether by manipulation or accident, Naomi's pregnancy might be linked not to betrayal in the flesh, but to a secret harvested from the family's own bloodline. But in Fairmont Crest, truth rarely redeems anyone, it only destroys. Jacob confronts the evidence alone, trembling, understanding what it means. If the child carries Dupree blood but not his own, Naomi's deception would still brand her unfaithful. And Vernon's quiet dominance over the family, the control he has wielded for decades, would finally collapse. Anita, already fragile from years of battling whispers about her husband's affairs, senses something wrong. She sees the way Jacob avoids eye contact, the way Naomi's smile has turned hollow. In her desperation to keep the family name clean, she does the unthinkable, she bribes the clinic to destroy the original files, ensuring that the truth will never reach public light. But someone else has already made copies. Leslie, who has long thrived on chaos, acquires the stolen data through one of Andre's associates. She plans to expose it at the next Dupree Foundation Gala, where every political ally, journalist, and business partner will be present. For her, it is the ultimate revenge, a spectacle that would ruin Naomi's reputation and shatter Jacob's standing forever. But the night before the gala, Jacob disappears. His car is found abandoned near the cliffs of Fairmont Lake, his phone submerged in water, the screen still glowing with Naomi's name. Naomi, devastated, collapses into Bill's arms. But the comfort is short-lived. Within hours, a new video begins circulating online, security footage showing Naomi entering the fertility clinic months earlier, alongside Andre. The media erupts. The Dupree Foundation's stock plummets, investors withdraw, and Anita suffers a breakdown on live television, insisting that her family will not fall. Behind the scenes, Danny begins piecing together that the leak could only have come from inside the house, and all signs point toward Leslie. Days later, police divers recover Jacob's body from the lake. The coroner rules it a suicide, citing emotional distress and paternal identity crisis. The news devastates Naomi, but grief soon gives way to horror. The child she carries, once her last connection to love, is now seen as the curse that ended a man's life and fractured an empire. Vernon retreats from public view, Anita isolates herself in the mansion, and Naomi becomes a pariah within her own home. Rumors claim she still visits Jacob's grave at night, whispering apologies into the wind, clinging to the fading hope that the child will somehow redeem her. But redemption does not exist in Fairmont Crest. When the child is finally born, a routine DNA test conducted by hospital staff confirms the darkest truth: the donor was neither Jacob nor Vernon. The genetic code links to Andre. Naomi's desperation had led her back to the one man she should have avoided, believing he would protect her when the world turned against her. Instead, he had orchestrated everything, ensuring that his bloodline, not Jacob's, would live inside the Dupree fortune. The revelation sends shockwaves through the estate. Andre disappears before authorities can question him, leaving behind a single envelope addressed to Naomi. Inside is a photograph of the newborn and a note that reads simply, "You chose survival. So did I." Anita orders Naomi to leave Fairmont Crest before dawn. No guards, no farewell, no mercy. As the gates close behind her, Naomi looks back one last time at the house that had promised power and instead delivered ruin. By the end, the Dupree mansion stands like a haunted monument to betrayal. The family's wealth remains, but its soul is gone, buried with Jacob at the bottom of the lake. And in the silent nursery of an empty wing, the echoes of a crying infant seem to haunt the air, a reminder that the future of the Duprees now belongs to the blood of a man who destroyed them all. And so, as the final shadows fall over Fairmont Crest, nothing feels certain anymore. The mansion that once stood as a symbol of power now echoes with silence, every chandelier a ghost of former glory, every hallway filled with whispers that will never fade. Naomi's exile has become the talk of every elite circle from Washington to Atlanta, but behind the gossip lies something darker: the fear that she might return. Because no one truly leaves Fairmont Crest untouched, not when the walls themselves are built from secrets. Anita's fragile grip on sanity continues to slip. Some nights, neighbors swear they see her walking the gardens alone, clutching Jacob's old watch and calling out for his son who will never answer. Vernon has withdrawn entirely, a figure of ruin who drinks to forget the empire he can no longer control. Danny and Leslie, once rivals, now find themselves bound by guilt, both knowing that their actions helped ignite the fire that consumed them all. Meanwhile, Andre's name surfaces in every investigation, but his face is nowhere to be found. Rumor has it he's fled the country, yet others claim he's still close, watching, waiting for the moment his creation, Naomi's child, becomes old enough to inherit what he believes is rightfully his. The child, now hidden under a false identity, has become the most dangerous secret in the Dupree lineage, a living reminder that even the most powerful families can be undone by a single act of deception. And somewhere beyond the gates, Naomi stands by the ocean, the wind howling through the cliffs as she holds her baby and stares into the horizon. She no longer dreams of forgiveness or redemption, only survival. But in the distance, a black car pulls up, its headlights slicing through the mist. A familiar figure steps out, holding a folder marked with the Dupree seal. Is it a warning? A threat? Or the beginning of a new war for control of Fairmont Crest? The answers may still lie behind those iron gates, where every secret has a price and every sin comes home to collect. The story isn't over, it's only just beginning.